Hey guys, we had the full moon at 21 degrees of Capricorn happening on July 14th at 11:37 a.m. Pacific, which would be 2:37 p.m. Eastern time. Check your local time to see when this lunation is occurring for you. So we have our second supermoon in a month. The last supermoon was on June 14th in Sagittarius, and this one is one of the biggest ones we're going to get in 2022. In fact, it's supposed to be the largest one we're getting in 2022. So it's going to be massively illuminated, which is a funny thing to say because it is a moon in Capricorn, which generally you don't think of illumination in this energy, but this moon itself will be very, very bright. And this is also a buck moon. The reason why this moon got its name is because ancient tribes observed, and particularly with bucks, this would be a time where their horns were sprouted at the highest peak. This was a point where their antlers were more prominent and sprouting new growth, because with these animals, antlers tend to shed and break off, and then, they have a growth period of their own. And so native tribes observed this. On a spiritual and energetic level, this could be a time where we're noticing something becoming more prominent in our life. In other words, this could be a time where we're seeing some progress or some growth on something that might have been stunted for a little bit, and you're finally seeing some sort of transformation or change that's occurring to it. And we have two rulers for this moon. We have Saturn and the moon. Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. The moon is ruled by Cancer. Cancer is the opposite, and because it's a full moon, we have the sun opposite the moon, as it always is during these lunations. This is the peak of the cycle, and this is when the earth is between the moon and the sun, which is why we get all of that light during a full moon, because the moon is reflecting all of that light coming from the sun. And looking at the vibes on the graph, it's pretty interesting and kind of strange. We have emotional sensitivity intersecting romantic energy. This moon has some edge to it. Of course it does. It definitely does. It has some stuff. It has some stuff that's calm, but it definitely has some more edge than we would like when it comes down to full moons. So relationship-wise, there could be some romantic moments. There could be some flirty moments, but there could be some edginess when it comes down to some of our relationships. There is a low-grade, steady stream of mental energy, along with a little bit of solitude and a bit of family and friends energy that's going on from the 14th all the way up until the 16th is when we're seeing most of that mental energy. Around the 15th is when a little bit of the solitude is popping up, but then after that we're getting a bit of family and friends energy. So this could be a time, even though full moons are cycles of completion and we contemplate things, where mentally you might feel more drained than normal with the low mental energy. You could want to have some sort of game plan or figure some stuff out, but you might not be in the headspace to do it, and it may be something that needs to be put off later. So this could be how you're feeling during this lunation, and having moments where you might need a little bit of time to yourself and time to think if you can. But yeah, as I was saying before, full moons are a cycle of completion. They are peaked out lunar energy. This is where we look at where we've been and what we've created in a sign 6 months ago when we had the new moon in Capricorn. The new moon in Capricorn occurred at the beginning of January, around January 2nd to be exact. Think about what type of Capricorn themes you're trying to create in your life. The positive attributes of Capricorn really sets us up for success. So this could have been a period where you're looking to set better boundaries, have a better work ethic, not rush into things, commit yourself to something serious, create outward security, and create some sort of game plan for yourself so that way you live a life of mastery. So with this Capricorn energy, are you learning to become more solid? Have you been patient and persisted on your goals? Have you obtained the things that you've been wanting to obtain in terms of security in your life? Has your long-term plan been panning out? Are you starting to feel like you created a new foundation and something solid in your life? Capricorn energy is all about making things real and is all about solidifying things. And it is hard work to get to those things. So if you've been trying to create this, has something been persisting for you? Has something been working for you? Is there something that you need to tweak in terms of your stability and in terms of your goals? Or is something not working the way you want and you're not getting a return on investment as a result? So you're having to move away from that and find something different that's going to make you solid in your life. Has this been a period where you've been learning how to adult? I know that sounds funny, but some of us, we could be adults, obviously chronologically, but sometimes things may not be in the right order, and it doesn't have to necessarily be finances. It could be our sense of responsibility. It could be our maturity levels. It could be our sense of entitlement. Those things could definitely set us up for failure in some ways. So if this has been a period where you've been working on that, you've been working on being more responsible, less reckless, and caring about taking things more seriously, getting your shit together, even coming to a point where you're realizing, some of the behaviors that you're doing isn't helping you. It could be something like partying all the time, or hanging with the wrong crowd, or not putting effort in at your job and just resting on your laurels. Or it could be stuff like just not being responsible when it comes down to bills, when it comes down to taking accountability for your actions and ownership. This could be a period where you might have been working on that, so that way you can become more of a responsible adult in your life. And with this, have you committed yourself to something? This type of adulting thing and commitment, they go hand in hand, because this could be committing yourself to working hard. This could be committing yourself to a relationship. This could be committing yourself to being on a better track, having a game plan, a long-term game plan, something to do with your diet. It could be committing to going back to school and finishing your degree and things like that. So have you been working on commitment issues in your life? Have you been committing to the things that you need to commit to? And of course, especially when it comes down to the relationship part, are you making sure you're making the right commitments? In other words, are you making the right commitments to the right people? Because sometimes we commit ourselves to the wrong people. I know sometimes that can't be helped. Sometimes people aren't necessarily looking for red flags, and you want to give people the benefit of the doubt, but this could be a period where you're starting to notice what you shouldn't commit yourself to, because you don't want to be tied to a mistake or a choice that's just not going to be something that you're happy about later on. If this is something you've been working on, have you been working on not committing to the wrong things and really focusing your energy so when you do commit, it's to the right things, the right person, the right situation, the right job, or anything else? And speaking of relationships, have you created better boundaries with others? Again, doesn't have to be a romantic relationship. It can be, but it could be relationships with friends, family. Capricorn energy, Saturn energy, we deal with family a lot of the time in this energy, along with the moon and even the sun, because the sun has a lot to do with the father. It also has a lot to do with creation, and creation to deal with like birth and things like that. But within this energy, it could be setting boundaries with families. It could be setting boundaries with a parental figure, an authority figure in your life, and that sort of thing. Or within your friends groups, within other relationships of your own. But Saturn energy, Capricorn energy is about setting limits, where you're realizing the importance of not letting others waste your time, not letting others encroach upon you, and doing what's necessary to have healthy boundaries, learning the art of saying no to people. And even if that makes them uncomfortable, then it just makes them uncomfortable. A lot of the times when people get mad that you set boundaries or have a poor reaction to you, it speaks volumes about the way they feel about you. And they're not wanting you to change, because why would they want you to change when everything has been so good and easy for them with you not having any boundaries? So if you've gotten a poor reaction with others when you try to set boundaries, it's because they want to keep benefiting off of you and they want to be on easy street with you. And has this been a time where you've been trying to level up in your life? Capricorn energy is slow energy, so the leveling up may not be accelerated and fast as it might be in some other signs, but you're starting to put in the work that you need to invest in yourself, invest in your finances, level up in terms of your career, level up in terms of your status, work on your reputation, because when we deal with Capricorn, we're dealing with the 10th house, we're dealing with the midheaven, which is the highest point in the chart, and that has a lot to do with our public standing and how people see us and how people view us. Not like how it is with the ascendant. The ascendant is when we meet people in person. The midheaven is when people see us on social media, or they're looking at our portfolio or our resume. So have you been working on that? Have you been working on the way you present? Are you looking to create better optics, or have you created better optics when it comes down to the way people view you? And of course, leveling up in all other types of ways. With this energy, we work hard so that way we can become masters in our field. So this could be a period that you've been working on that, and you're ready to either go after a certain career or a certain aspiration of yours, and you've created that mastery within that time, or you're starting to see that that mastery is starting to develop within you so you can go for those goals. You can apply for that job, you can go for that promotion, you can apply for that scholarship or whatever program that you're trying to get yourself into, or it could be a fitness plan. It could be anything to do with that you've been working on and you've been trying to master for yourself. So hopefully you guys have used this Capricorn energy to create nothing but excellence in your life and a stable foundation where you can stand tall in your own brilliance. Let's look at these transits and see what we can expect from this lunation. As a reminder, don't forget to like and subscribe because it helps this channel grow. And if you'd like to support the work of this channel, you could do so by buying me a fresh cup of coffee. There's a link in the description box below. So yeah, this lunation is a mixed bag. We can definitely feel some tug of war energy. We can definitely feel a little bit of tension within this energy. There could be moments where we feel edgy. There could be moments where we feel triggery, especially with, again, the alignments that they're making. The sun and the moon are opposed each other. And of course, when we have that sort of energy, we're having to work through some of our obstacles. This could be a time where we're having to balance out our need to be self-protective and invulnerable and maybe cold versus being more open emotionally. So there could be a tug of war with that in terms of showing our emotions. There could be a tug of war in terms of hiding our emotions. I mean, sometimes you need to find balance when it comes down to your emotions. You should be open, but not too open. You should be vulnerable, but not too vulnerable. There has to be a fine balance. So this could be a time where you're trying to work through that and work through any sort of tug of war that you might be feeling within those energies. Both the chart rulers are creating alignments that might cause some sort of tension. Saturn, the ruler of Capricorn for this moon itself, is in a semi-square with Neptune, also applying back to a square with Uranus that it did last year 3 times. So that could bring up some trigger points from December, one of the last times they made this square with one another. And Saturn is still loosely square the node, so this could also bring up more tension when it comes down to the things that we need to change that's very intense versus learning a more mellow approach in our lives. Also getting to a point where we're not allowing ourselves to get into a rut, and we're not allowing old habits to cause us to paint ourselves into a corner. And we're learning it's important to update our approach in the way we handle things. But Saturn is making a trine with Venus, and so that should bring in some easy energy when it comes down to our relationships. This is where we were seeing some of that romantic energy. This could be a time where we're looking at finally making a commitment to something, whether this could be a commitment to a job, a commitment to a relationship, or we're ready to commit ourselves to a contract because Venus happens to be in Gemini, and Gemini has a lot to do with contracts and paperwork. This could be a time where you're looking to do that as well. With the moon, the co-ruler, there can definitely be some uncomfortable energies again. This moon is making some uncomfortable alignments. This moon is making an opposition to Mercury, while Venus, so there could be some miscommunication going on in relationships or anything to do with money. So there might be a lot of changeable moods or people changing what they said. In other words, saying one thing and then doing another, or changing their mind and deciding that they don't either want the commitment or they don't want someone within the relationship, or when it comes to money, going back and forth between, okay, yeah, I'll pay you that or I'll give you that, and then taking that back. So there could be some weird fluctuations when it comes down to that energy. This moon is conjunct Pluto, and I will say, luckily, it's not the way it was when we had this last year. Because last year that moon was enclosed between Pluto and Saturn, so it's not malefically enclosed, so that should take a little bit of the edge off. The Pluto stuff could bring up some past stuff. It could bring up some resolved issues that we need to take care of, but it could be a day where we're starting to heal that, which is not a bad thing. It just could be an uncomfortable thing. Saturn is making a semi-square with this moon, so this could bring up some gloomy things when it comes down to relatives. When we deal with Saturn and the moon, we deal with relatives, we deal with family, we deal with place of origin and things like that. So there could be some issues, argumentative stuff with female figures, male figures, people who are parental figures in your life, both mother or father or someone who's like that. That can bring up some of those energies. So as a result, you're having to deal with a lot of unresolved stuff that goes on with family. At least this moon is making harmonious alignments with Uranus and the lunar nodes, which may bring some sudden change in a good way in terms of just mitigating some of the drama, maybe finding a solution or finding a eureka moment for some of the drama that's been going on during this lunation, where maybe you were stuck, maybe you didn't know exactly how to handle a situation or how to communicate with other people. So this could be the aha moment of finding the perfect solution to resolving something that was complicated or felt unresolvable at the moment. So yeah, this is definitely one of those lunations that has quite a bit of energy. It can definitely be edgy, it could definitely be complex, and it could be triggering in a lot of ways. So do the best you can when some of these energies hit. Anyway, I hope you all have the best full moon in Capricorn ever. Later, guys.